Alright guys, so in today's video we're going to talk about the Sigma 14mm f1.8 lens. So let's get started. So I took this lens out, took it on a few photos, got some few video clips with it. I took it on a corporate shoot, real estate shoot. Actually, I took it through its course now that I think about it, music video. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. What I like, what I didn't like. I'm not gonna get too much into this lens because I'm not the greatest at that. There's other videos for that. I just wanna talk about why I bought it, what I like and what I dislike. So we're gonna get started with why I bought this lens. The reason why I bought this lens is, first of all, this lens goes for $1,600, but I found one used for $1,000. So I had to pull the trigger on it because I've been eyeing this lens. I just didn't wanna spend $1,600. So reason why I bought this lens, reason why I've been waiting to find this lens is because if you guys know me, I love shooting photos, I love shooting video, I love getting wide angle shots because to me they're so crucial, they're so important, and you know, it just tells a lot within a video. The other reason why I bought this lens is how sharp what it delivers. So when I found out about this lens, I knew this is the lens I wanted to get. Now I do have the Tokina 11-16mm, the shallow depth only 2.8. This one's 1.8, so better bokeh, better in low light. But when it comes to sharpness, this lens destroys the Tokina 11-16, hands down. It doesn't compete to this. This is sharp, and I've been in the hunt for a lens that's sharp, wide. It works with my cinema camera. My cinema camera has internal ND, so for video purposes, the front glass element does not affect me. So I was just finally happy that I bought this lens. Now, it was expensive still, it was $1,000, but for a good reason. The only reason why I bought this lens is music videos. So I own the S1.8 as well, and I shoot a lot of videos in studio. So when it comes to studio, you don't need internal NDs for the most part. For the most part, you're able to control lighting and adjust and whatnot. So I bought this lens because the style and the image that it provides, it's different. The look, the warp, there's that trippy type of look. I actually shot a music video, hopefully I'm providing it as I'm talking, but this lens just delivers. It just gives you something different, you know, and I needed something different. I'm so used to the 24, the 35, the 50, 85. I'm over those, you know. I wanted to get creative and try something different, and I knew a super crazy wide angle lens was gonna give me that type of image. So there's many ways to implement this lens when it comes to music videos. It's not just for astrophotography, which is what this lens is known for. So that is the reason why I purchased this lens. Also, in case if I do shoot here and there the real estate, I have the space for it. For wedding photography, this lens, I only use it for one particular reason, and that is at the end when everyone's dancing. What I normally tend to do is get the bride and the groom. I get them in the middle when everyone's dancing, and I have the groom grab the bride, give her a kiss, and everybody on the dance floor has to cheer them on from behind. You get a sick, dope shot with this lens. So there's a time and place for this lens. I knew what I was getting myself into. So overall, the positives to this lens, what I love is the sharpness. I think this lens is really sharp, photo and video. Also, the build quality of this lens, if you're to drop it, you don't have to worry about it, or at least I hope not. I mean, it looks like it'll withstand it, but don't take my word on it, you know. But it's built good, it's weather sealed. I mean, all in all, just the image you get out of this lens, I mean, it's definitely a lens that I highly recommend to you guys. Now, the one downfall to this lens is you can't shoot photos vertical. Everything looks distorted and sloppy. I would not recommend. The other reason why I also bought this lens, in case, because I know a lot of you guys follow me that own Evo 1, is we own Super 35 cinema cameras. So this front element, the internal NDs on the Evo 1, is definitely gonna help us. We don't have to worry about putting ND in the front because you really can't anyway because of the front element on this glass. But if you have a cinema camera, it doesn't matter. And as I mentioned, all my shoots for the most part, they're inside a studio, so it does not matter. I don't have to worry about internal NDs. If you're trying to go out and shoot for fun, now you're limited in broad daylight. You have to do it at nighttime, as I did when you guys saw the photos. So there's a time and place, but the downfall to this lens, as all Sigma art lenses, I'm always gonna state, is how heavy they are. Now, I don't really care about it. I know a lot of people do, so I just want to put that out there. It is a heavy lens. It's not light. It's a lot lighter than the 14-24 though, that's for sure. I owned that lens at one time. I didn't like it. Something about the 2.8, I like my lens to be really fast, even though I don't always shoot at 1.4 or 1.8, for example. I still want a super fast lens just in case. You never know when you're in an area where you need more light. I want to have that lens. So The other downfall to this lens is the distortion. You gotta be extra careful. What are you planning to use this lens for? You can't just shoot to shoot, you know, there's a time and place. All in all, this lens is nice to have. I really can't complain. I mean, I did my study before I bought this lens. It's just something I've always wanted. I wanted a sharp wide angle lens that's really fast in case I need extra bokeh, extra stop for low light. This was the lens and I knew it. It was expensive, and I finally came across it, and I'm excited that I bought the lens. So this lens just plays a role for me in different type of areas. It's just more on what are you guys planning to shoot. When you guys buy this lens, ask yourself this, because for me, if you only have a mirrorless camera and let's just say you're not trying to shoot it, for example, on the EOS R, which has those adapters with the internal NDs on them, if you're not trying to shoot with a Canon and you have like a Sony and whatnot, I don't think they make any filters for them. So this lens, you're gonna be basically limited when it comes to video in broad daylight. Unless you're shooting like myself, you know, you gotta ask yourself, are you shooting studio type of shoots, or a lot of shoots are outdoor? Then this lens wouldn't make sense. So there's a time and place. Now, if you're just trying to get this lens for photos, you can shoot wherever you want. You can boost the aperture, you can, you know, keep it at f1.8, you can boost the shutter. There's multiple ways, obviously, to use for photo. For photo, there is no downfall with this lens, but for video, there is in broad daylight, unless you own a cinema camera that has built-in ND filters, or the Canon that has that adapter that has built-in ND filters inside the adapter. Unless there's other adapters that fit for other type of cameras out there, but all I know is the Canon EOS R one. Just be careful on where you plan on shooting with this lens. Not every scene involves this lens. Like, this lens can give you a triple look, or it can ruin your image. If you don't know how to shoot a person right, you can make them look really distorted, or whatever the case may be. So just be very, very careful where you're planning to shoot with this lens. But overall, what it's gonna give you is gonna give you a beautiful wide type of shot that, you know, it's just different, right? We're not used to shooting in 14 mil. For the most part, it's like 18 mil, 16 mils where we're normally at lowest. Now I'm at 14, and it just gives me a whole different type of image. I would definitely be using it a lot on my music videos, on weddings, for ceremonies. Maybe you want to do a pushing shot, or when the bride is walking down the aisle. There's a time and place that you can use this on so many different type of shoots. So definitely look into this lens. It's expensive, but for a reason. So hopefully you guys like this. It's not really too detailed in the lens. It's more of what I bought it for, what I used it for. Now, if you guys are trying to shoot the same thing that I'm shooting, maybe this lens does make sense for you guys, you know? It's just all depends on what we're all shooting. So definitely great lens. Build quality is outstanding. Sharpness, the image you get out of it, I mean, it's worth the pay, to be honest. It's just more on, make sure you guys know what you guys are shooting. Don't just buy this lens to buy it, because if not, it can just sit in the shelves, as the 14 to 24 did for me. That 2.8 I didn't like, and just something about that lens I didn't like. This one is just, I've used it many times already, and I have not complained. So this is definitely going to be always in my camera bag, along with my two other lenses, which is the 18 to 35 and the 50 to 100. But I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hopefully you guys liked it. Peace out, guys.